Um, Sean, if you're still here, here's my take on all of this. If you want to hear my take, I'm gonna get a drink of water here. I want to check. I want to check the live to see if I missed anything you said. Um, by the way, voice is good. Everything's back. My sinuses are great. Everything's good. So hopefully I can do probably a new re-recording of voices and stuff like that and everything. Um, um, here's my take on everything. When you have a game that's supposed to be about creating ballparks and creating stadiums, and you find a glitch. Not me. I didn't find it. I just took the baton and ran with it. Because I got a lot I want to say on this topic here. When you come across things like this from time to time, and you say to yourself, huh, that's all it took. Every single thing is edited, is capable of being edited. This right here, all of this, everything on this map can be fixed. Why did it take so long to ask for this to be removed off of this field right here? And it can be, because this right here is stuck to this concrete floor right here. Concrete, grass, sand, whatever it is. It's all a staple. This right here, this is stuck here to where the players are to the floor. This right here, stuck to the floor. So you have to ask yourself a question. Oh, which, by the way, patch 13 came out today. Didn't fix anything with Stadium Creator. So, shocker there. What are these people doing with their time? And I know that, like, there is people who are not going to touch this glitch with a 20-foot pole for various reasons, be it for self-preservation and all those types of things. Frankly, that's your privilege. That's your right. I don't care. Most of you guys have just come along. Let me introduce you to something here. SDS does not care about this mode. Okay? Like, that's just the facts. I'm sitting up here right now toying with this thing. And I can't speak for other people. I'm not going to go around and tell people how to do this because I didn't know how to do it. The only thing I wanted out of all of this was just the ability to edit some stuff, make some dimensions of a ballpark that I wanted to make, and go on with my life. That's it. If you are hesitant, scared, or whatever to not touch this thing, that's fine. I don't shame you. I understand it. But I'm going to just say this straight up. The people who messed up the batter's eye glitch, just to let you guys know, were people who messed with Diamond Dynasty. Okay? I guarantee you that glitch would have never been patched if certain people discovered it for Diamond Dynasty and ran to Diamond Dynasty and played it online. There is just something to be said about people and their intelligence in life. That if this falls into the wrong hands, this most likely will be a threat. Now, I'm going to tell you what my purpose is for this. Okay? My purpose for this is to discover the truth. That's all for me. I want to discover the truth. I have been one of the original people here who did Stadium Creator. And personally have been felt robbed and lied to. Okay? In all of this. All right? So I have no interest. I have gone back and forth and debated with people about Diamond Dynasty and all that type of stuff. But World Without End, I've done it. Okay? All right? And I get a little snarky remarks both on Discord and stuff when people are like, oh, okay, cool. Like, you know, you can gladly say that, like, you know, Diamond Dynasty doesn't matter and all this type of stuff. But, you know, you know, a whole half of a population is not able to play this mode right now on Diamond Dynasty. Good. I'm going to sincerely say it. Good. I hope that head-to-head, in all honesty, will never be able to be playing a custom-created stadium ever again. Good. I hope so. And I'm going to tell you why I feel like this. Everything in this game, okay, is so centered around Diamond Dynasty, head-to-head, online card matches, all this type of stuff. So much that when they made this game this year, they did something that they never did before. They changed the exit velocity in Stadium Creator. They tinkered with this mode so much between MLB The Show 24 and MLB The Show 25 that you have a jumbled mess. By the way, it is May 27th, everybody. This mode is still broken. It doesn't matter if you play with a glitch stadium, glitch this, normal that. This thing right here, when you save it, is saved under a different name with 4 templates that are just stationary. Hello, Max. They're just stationary. Okay? And are unable to be blocked and deleted. So I don't speak for other YouTubers in this stadium building community. Regardless of who I like, regardless of who I talk to, if people want to play it safe and they just want to do their thing, do your thing. I don't fault you. Do your thing. Do what brings you money. Do what sells your hoodies. Do what sells your t-shirts and hats. Make your hustle. My beef is not with them. My beef is ultimately coming down to the understanding that this mode right here has been made solely purpose for Diamond Dynasty. And the people who are going to ruin this opportunity, I'm not going to call it a glitch, I'm going to say opportunity that's going to ruin this right here, are not your Stadium Creator people. No, not them. The people that are going to ruin this are your Diamond Dynasty online people, which, by the way, made this mode into a joke to begin with. Those aren't opinions, those are facts. I've played this game for well over the course of 4 years. I played this mode for 4 years. So when I say what I say, you can either believe it, go with it, or you can trust your YouTuber who just came onto the scene. But I'm going to tell you something straight up. I used to make ballparks for Diamond Dynasty. I used to. Because I was starting out on TikTok per the suggestion of a good person. told me you should take your stuff to TikTok. And I started building ballparks, and most of the people request and ask for me there to build certain stuff and do certain stuff. And they always ask, can you play this online? Can you play it on Diamond Dynasty? And I said, you know what? I said, let me go back and let me make some versions for Diamond Dynasty. And I would do Ebbets Field. I would do Ebbets Field Diamond Dynasty version. I would do all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? I would do all of that. And I realized people don't say thank you. They don't give you credit. You don't get views. You don't get thanks. You don't get none of this stuff. It's just people just use you and they just go on. So I said, you know what? What did I get into this for? I got into this because I wanted to build the most accurate ballparks possible so that people who are stadium enthusiasts will play what they want to play. And so when I downloaded MLB The Show 21, I was new. I was a novice. I had to work on my craft here to sculpt and create whatever I could sculpt and create. And I said, dang, this is weird. I said, how come I can't edit everything on this map? Why can't I do everything on this map? I'm not the only one who asked for that. I'm not the only one who sat up here and requested for that. I'm just one of the original few on YouTube and stuff that's still around. You have a few smaller sect of people who are still around who, you know, build ballparks and they go on with their life and they go on with their day. But the one who's the most vocally outspoken on this stuff, not the, but one of, is still around doing this thing. And I said this earlier this season, and I said before, and I'm not trying to burn people's ears off or be exhausted, but regardless of what side you stand on in regards to this whole customization thing and the secret, I call it the secret customization of MLB The Show, regardless of where you stand on this, you have to sit back and you have to ask yourself one simple question. This was all we wanted as a stadium building community. However, why did they not listen to us? It's an easy question. I think it's a valid question. You know, I sat up here, I spent about $100 and some for an early version, and my thanks from SDS was no communication, no talking, no answers. I sat up here and I said personally that I made a thread for people to communicate, which, by the way, I shouldn't have had to do that. And in turn, we don't get any responses back from these people. We don't hear back from Ramon. We don't hear back from the developers. We don't get a decent, hey, we're working on this. Hey, we found the issue that was wrong with this. This is what was wrong with that. Here's a credit. Here's our stuff. Here's everything. You don't get a single thing. You don't get anything. What you do get is some dude on a forum who is a mod of some sort that says, oh, well, the crew's aware of it and they're working on it. That's the only thing I can report for now. So that dude knows just as much as you do. The only difference is he has SDS to his name. Gee, thanks, bub. Thanks a lot. That's what you get. You get no new props, no new scenery, no nothing. This it right here is running on the PlayStation 5. This right here is a quote-unquote next-gen console. I'm not one for sitting up here and throwing out the word lazy. I don't like saying lazy. I think it's mean. I think it's harsh. I think it's demonstrative. I think it's dismissive. I think it's repugnant. But, you know, when I sit up here and I say to myself, wait a minute, hold on. If I change all of this right here, And by the way, this is what I want people to get out of this. If I can sit up here as a person, as a gamer who plays this game, right, and I can change this backdrop, I can change the left field behind the foul line. I can change the right field behind the foul line. I can move these foul poles a little bit differently than what I could before. And I played this game in practice mode, right? Again, just to let everyone know, I am not talking about online head-to-head or Diamond Dynasty here. So if this man just shows up on that mode, you need to deal with the person who does that, not me. So if I sit up here and I have all of this, and this doesn't affect the gameplay, if you put this map in the starter mode, okay, in exhibition, it's not going to crash the game. Me changing all of this does not crash the game. The only thing it does is if you move these dugouts, right? The dugouts are going to go themselves, but the staple place marker, it's just going to have the designated players right there in that dugout. That is the only thing that's going to change. The bat boys, the ball boys are going to be right here. The people on the line are going to be right there, all that stuff. And if you move it out the way, the bullpen and everything is not even attached to the field. They did not attach the bullpen to the field. All of that is attached to this map right here. How does moving any of this stuff affect gameplay? And if so, and if it didn't, why did you restrict this? Because this mode was made for Diamond Dynasty. This mode was made for online play. Like, they have the Ghostbusters No Ghost Wanted sign here with a baseball bat. I call it that. I don't know what they really call it. But if this mode was purely a creator mode for ballparks, you would have two options, okay? Your first option would be, if you want to take this to online, here's the most strict, specific gameplay that we can do, and we separate that and create a feature for that. And if you just want to create ballparks and use for novelty or use for throwbacks and stuff like that, here you go. You can move the bullpen wherever you want to move it at. You can move the dugout wherever you want to move it at. You can move all that stuff. If that is so difficult to do, you should explain it and be more communicative with your gamers and people so that they won't sit up here and assume you're lazy or you're complacent. That's all. When I came home last week and I discovered all of this, and I said, damn, I said I could sit up here and actually make a classic ballpark the way I want to make it, the way I envision it. I said, I've been dreaming about doing this since 2021. Why have I not been able to do this? And there's only so many times as a human being, and I also want to put this out here as a lesson. Not that I'm here to lecture you guys, but just to put it out here as a lesson. There's only so many times that you can ignore the truth of a person, of a situation, before that situation meets you face to face and gives you the stark reality that you need to have. I hate calling people lazy. I hate calling them complacent, because those are strong words. Those are strong words of condemnation. What I will say is this. Whether you want to deem it lazy or complacent, I will leave that up to your interpretation. But what I will say is this. I believe SDS is on the path, if not already, of being grossly misguided. I think they're grossly misguided. I think that when you get into the sports world, and I say this again, and I will say it forever, when you look at from 2010 to 2012, there were 3 games that started going the route of an ultimate team card collector based format for the sake of purpose of an all-star type of thing, where you put baseball players from every single era, football players, basketball players, soccer players from every single era, and you make a mode for it. That mode is now put into the game where franchise mode used to be the staple. Exhibition mode used to be the staple. All those things used to be the staple. And you plant that mode there, you make it by itself. And when it first starts out, you don't spend anything for it. You don't do anything. You collect tokens, or you collect cards, you collect rewards from inside the game itself. Your money's not good here. Okay? You go from 2010 to 2025, and you now look at how many YouTubers are doing the card thing. How many Madden YouTubers went from franchise YouTubers to MUT YouTubers? How many MLB The Show people went from franchise to Road to the Show, then subs were introduced, now they're all doing MUT? Gnomes the Legend, whatever his name is, KDJ, all these dudes. It's the same O-face, put my face out there, card people who collect cards, talk about nothing but cards, talk about hustling for cards, and there's nothing else wrong with this game, so don't even bother asking them in their chat, in their comment section, because they don't care about those other modes. And again, this sounds like a dig. I just want to say, I don't blame them, because they're a part of the system. They're a part of the system that gives us where we are right now, where the only way you find out that you can customize all this stuff is by some person tripping over something and daisy chaining and turning a vehicle on, and you can find out how all this stuff works, which asks you more questions than what it does give answers. Why you sit up here in year 4 of this thing and you have this big fat Matt batter's eye that you can't get rid of, and you can't put people on, and you can't move it around, and you can't do anything, you just keep it stationary. That's how you get here. And I tell people all the time, do not take my word for it. I don't want you to take my word for it. Do not build a church of the stadium creator. All I ask you is this. I want you to figure this out for yourself and ask yourself this one question. When was Madden good? When did Madden lose its luster? When did NBA 2K got good? When did NBA 2K lose its luster? When did MLB The Show get good? And when did it lose its luster, if it hasn't already? Those are the questions I want you to ask. That's why I make those videos. That's why I put those 43-minute videos out there. Because I go extensively into making you think about what you see in front of you. That when you played Madden back in the day, and you played Madden 2011, and you ask anybody who had an Xbox 360 back then, I was in college during those years, so in the late 2000s and actually mid-2000s, early 2010s. But I can tell you this for a second. Madden 2009, 10, 11, and 12. That was it. During the Madden Ultimate era, Madden 10, 11, and 12, when it was initially introduced. And you will tell everybody, if you want to do Madden 2013, I do it because the Ravens won that one. I like that one, but that's neither here nor there. But to be the God's honest truth, those 3 versions of the game was the last great versions of that game you will ever play in the last 15 years. Since then, it has gone downhill. Don't take my word for it. Look at YouTube. And look at Ryan Moody and what Ryan Moody says about Madden and his constant criticisms. And then when you look at Madden 13 to Madden 20 to Madden 25, you see the issues. You see the sales decreasing. You see why people don't go in and don't buy the stuff anymore. You see all those things. And EA sits up there and be like, well, how do we get to this point? You got to this point because you are greedy. You are greedy. Your greed takes over your creativity. If you are an artist, when you get greedy, that is when the spirit of inspiration and innovation leaves you like that. It leaves you. You can't create no more because when you are greedy, when you create a game for a corporation that just cares about money, you have no more spirit of innovation because you're not making this game because you love it. You're making this game because you have to. What's up, Mike? That's how you get there. That's how you get there. This isn't about building a ballpark or what you want to build. I have my fun building all this stuff. But, you got to ask yourself that question. Hopefully it's a good beer because I'm not going to drag you guys on too long here. But you look at it, and you know what comes after that? The microtransactions. Then what comes after that? Now you see a shift in YouTubers. Now all your YouTubers who used to post create a player, road to the show, my player, superstar, all switch to MUT. If they ain't do MUT, they did Diamond Dynasty. If they don't do Diamond Dynasty, they do My Teams. They go where the money is. So guess who flies who out? EA flies out all the MUT people. All the people who play online. They don't fly out franchise people. They don't fly out people who want to play exhibition mode or people who want to play offline. What do? They fly out all the people who do the MUT, the card stuff, the Madden tournaments. They're not sim. So what incentive do they have to change the game to where it used to be when they deliberately made the game be where it's at to boot you out? It's a great party. You ain't invited. Everybody want to sit up here and all the people with the big mics and the 1,000 followers, the 10K followers, the 6-digit followers, the 700K followers and all of them for MLB The Show. Who the ones they fly out? Your KDJs. Again, I don't fault them. I don't hate the player, hate the game. If I was him and I realized, holy crap, everything else in this game is shot to hell. Most of this game is 80% working. There's 13 patches for a game that just came out 3 months ago or 2 months ago. Two months and some change. What can I make money from in this game? Ding, 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 ding. I can make money off of Diamond Dynasty. I can't do it doing Road to the Show. Who wants to watch Road to the Show? When I'm competing with 25 to 30 other Diamond Dynasty people, the card heads over the Yu-Gi-Oh crowd. I'm competing with the Yu-Gi-Ohs. The card games, the flip, 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 like Pokemon. Collect them all. Double up XP. And then you listen to SDS talk. I don't know who these new people are that they hired at SDS, but these people are not the people who were in love with this game and built this game to be where it's at. These are people brought in by the powers that be that will take the direction of where they're told to take this game at. And where they're told to take this game at is straight up microtransactions. That's it. Diamond Dynasty, Diamond in the Rough, Stock Trader Simulator, Seller Simulator, Gambling Alcoholic Simulator. That's where they're taking you at. That's where they're taking you at. And then people sit up here and they don't see it. They fly out all the people who are only going to focus on key modes. That's why, hey, where are the online franchise people at? Remember when you used to have online franchise here on a lesser console? Remember when you used to have sounds of the show? People in Operation Sports used to download sounds of the show. You used to be able to have that. That was on PlayStation 3. On PlayStation 5 now. You're on Xbox Series X. These machines are way more advanced than that. How come you don't have that? And you know what the response was? We're not going to focus on the modes that are not in the game. We're going to focus on the modes that are in the game. That's what that girl said in the stream. So all the people in the video who always look like they're held hostage at SDS. That's what she said in the stream. We're not here to talk about the modes that are in the that are not in the game. We're here to talk about the modes in the game. And the first thing she popped to is we have this new feature here called Diamond Dynasty. And then you have this other casino thing where you shaking up dice and rolling it and you're getting cards like that. They don't care about you. Like, I don't have to sit up here and be a soothsayer or a read me now, call me later type of person. All you got to do is sit up there and look at the videos. And you see that's exactly what Madden did. And that's why Madden can't make its sales. Because eventually at some point, even the people who do the card crap want a quality game. But they fail to realize they contribute to the problem that you have. Every single YouTuber you see out here who put that fake cheese grin on when they talk about, oh, I collected the Cam Newton card and I got the wrestling card and all that type of stuff. And they get 600,000 to 1 million subscribers on their channel, all between the ages of 7 to 15 or whatever. They're killing the game. Every single Friday, like, let me remind people here. When this game was broken, I'm talking, what, 12 patches ago? There's already 13 patches in this game. We haven't even gotten to summer yet. It's 13 patches in this game. When we had 13 patches ago in this game, and they knew this game was broken, do you know what they did every single Friday? They came out and they made videos talking about what cards are coming out. Weekend Warrior, all this type of stuff. Hey guys, there are people here who can't even play co-op. What are you doing about that? Are you going to let anybody know? Are you going to say anything? No, not a single word was said. It's getting worse and worse and worse. What's up, Mark? Because these people don't care about the game. They're not passionate about this like the way we are passionate about this. And then what happens is when you get games like this, is that now that you've implemented these modes, now that you've hired the people in place who are going to be piss poor when it comes to communication, to its customers. Keep in mind, the people who pay your rent and bills, guess what they do? Every single mode in this game is now centered to Diamond Dynasty, to card collections, to purchases and microtransactions. And while everybody that you see on YouTube wants to sit up here and tell you a lie, a sweet little lie for you to go to sleep and say, oh, they're not as predatory as Madden. They're not as predatory as 2K. They're not as predatory as EA and all of them. They're in a different league of their own. Yeah, of course they got cars stuck up there for 500, 700,000 tokens, which, by the way, if you try to hustle that out in the game, you will never get it. It only leaves one thing to do. You have to buy. You have to buy tons of stubs. And the reason why they make stubs, they want you to buy the stubs. They want you to continuously buy the stubs because they put discounts on the stubs. Folks, they make it clear and evident with how they think about you. You're their cash cow. And now, on top of that, you have card packs in which you have to open, which, by the way, there are odds. Odds, 1 to 4, 1 to 5, 1 in 50, 1 in 60, 1 in 60, 1 in 50 chances you have to get a certain card. Who do you think plays this game? And you're worried about a glitch? You're worried about a little glitch right here that was discovered that what? Does this? That's what's going to break your game, not you sitting up here, X amount of months in after taking people's money. This right here is what's going to do your game in. This right here is top priority. This is the one people don't want to touch with a 20-foot pole. You have a game here that is E for everyone, or at least somewhat teen, because of music and the lyrics. You have that going on where you're subjecting kids to gambling. I don't think people understand what gambling means. Let's look it up. Here's the definition. Let me read it to you. The wagering of something of value, the stakes, on an event with an uncertain outcome and the intent of winning something else of value. Now, all my adults in here, if y'all ever gambled before, I do horse racing. I ain't worried about it. I tell it like it is. You see them numbers where they say 5 to 20, 10 to 5, all that stuff? When you go on FanDuel or DraftKings, you see money lines and all that type of stuff. Those are numbers. Those all equal wages. Those are for you're gambling on a certain outcome that is supposed to be within your favor. So you go, you get money, you buy stubs. Okay, you buy stubs, all right? So you get stubs, you get card packs, you buy the card packs. What are you using the stubs for in regards to buying the packs? So you go out there, you buy 20 packs. What are you trying to get from that? You're trying to get an advantage. You're trying to get something that is an advantage for your benefit. Loot crates, loot boxes, all that type of stuff that games were starting to do between the 2010s and now. They were introducing kids to gambling. That's predatory. Gambling is not predatory in its nature. If you are a person who wants to put $5 down on Keno and you come back with $10,000, you ain't got a gambling problem. You lucky. The only people who got gambling problems are who? The people who lose, who keep coming back. The person who goes to Las Vegas and puts $10 down and comes out with $600,000 and never comes back again, that person doesn't have a gambling problem. The person who puts $10 down and wins $100,000, puts another 20 down, wins $2 million, they don't have a gambling problem. Person who do is the person who loses. How is it predatory? That's where they'll come back and they'll tell you, how is it predatory? Well, I don't want to say this is predatory. I don't want to say they're like Madden. I don't want to say they're like FIFA. Those guys are the big bad wolf. They'll huff and puff and blow your house down. These guys are different. They give you free cards. You'll hear that. You'll hear them all say that. It's a cope. If the free cards were so good, why do they give you ones in which you got to work hard for or may lead to you buying it? Here's another thing. I don't want to be too long on this. But here's another thing. The whole predatory thing. What makes it predatory? We'll look up the definition of predatory. Stand by. The term predatory refers to actions or behaviors that involve exploiting, harming, or victimizing others for personal gain or advantage. It carries a strong negative connotation, implying a lack of ethics and fairness. So here's an example of predatory style outcomes when it comes to gambling. Okay? The difference between a person who puts $5 down, walks away with either $1, no money, or $5,000, and the person who puts their home mortgage down, their kids' tuition fund, their mortgage, the money that was supposed to go to an engagement ring or something like that. The difference between those two people is the person who could put $5 down and chose to walk away is a person who is satisfied and no longer has the eagerness or the gumption inside of them to want more. The temptation doesn't exist in their world. They're just doing it for fun. This individual over here that does that, it's predatory because they've allowed themselves to be in a situation to where the element is now controlling their thinking capabilities. It's the sense of feeling like you can get more if you add more. That's what it means. It really means that. So how does that translate into a game service with cards? Let's just say we're not going to talk about MLB The Show. They're different. Let's talk in generalities, shall we? Let's say you have a program that comes out to where you have to hustle and grind to get this card. Or you have to hustle and grind to get certain points to boost your player. Or you have to grind to get characters in a mode where if you had the option of money, you could easily get them. What would I do if I was a gaming company and I want them to start using money to buy my products, but I don't want it to come out and look bad? Instead, I just want it to be there as an option that you, quote unquote, choose to do, even though I give percentages off of points and monetary things that you can add to the game. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give you a crappy version of something for free. And I'm going to place the better version behind a paywall. And if it's not a paywall, I'm going to place it in something that's so difficult that by the time you get home from your job, or you get home from your class, or you get home from school, you're not going to want to do it that way. I'm going to make it to the point where you have a program that I'm going to put you through so much rigmarole that you're not going to want to do it and get it for free. And I'm going to make it where I limit the amount of coins you get from a program that you work hard for, that you are only going to have to buy it to equal to that so that you can get the outcome you want. I'm going to prey on your human nature. As a human being, it is typical for us human beings to take the least path of resistance. That it is easier to avoid pain than it is to receive it. We run from things. If you were to sit up here and say, if you can get through all of college and all you have to do is just step on one stone, almost 90% of the population would do it. 10% would be like, it's human nature. That's how you prey on people. It's called deniable plausibility. If you keep the door open just enough, you can't get blamed for someone walking through it. Because all I did was leave the door open. Oops, sorry. Did I do that? That's where we are with video games now. That's why you sit up here and you look at this mode right here. And you see this right here? Still here. The batter's eye is still here. You can't change that. That's why you sit up here and you realize, oh, well, you know what? All this can't be changed. Because the very mode itself is built for Diamond Dynasty. These people are so fixated and are so focused on this mode now that it has infiltrated every single part of this game to where you release a game that's not complete, that doesn't work, that has glitches and errors up the yin-yang. When you look at this game from 10 years ago, 12 years ago, 15 years ago, you didn't have these problems. So if people want to sit up here and talk about these glitches and they don't want to touch it with a 20-foot pole, I get you. I understand it. I understand your concern. I do it because, I know I'm not doing anything wrong. I didn't discover it. I didn't find it. All I did was download this, and I just said, hey, let me go create some ballparks and fulfill some people's dreams. That's it. And just focus on what actually could have been if a decent gaming company that actually cared and had the innovation to make stuff the way they want to make it could actually do it. That's all. This mode right here should have been like this from the jump. It should have. You should be able to customize every single thing in this game. That's it. And if you really care that much about multiplayer and you care about all this stuff, here's something you can do. And it's not a big problem. It's not a big issue. Just make a separate mode. How much work is that going to take? How much work is that going to take to put into this? I haven't seen anybody talk about this mode since 2023. When if you go on TikTok and you look at the little developer thing that they did, they don't even market this mode anymore. But all I hear from Diamond Dynasty people is that, oh, well, you know, you're missing out on a big, huge part of this community because we can't even play it online. It's actually pretty good you can. It's actually pretty good. It's kind of refreshing for once. You know? I've seen people for over 4 years here say racist stuff. They've put, like, look at Logo Creator, for example. Logo Creator is not even police. How many N-words and anti-Semitic stuff and homophobic stuff is in those threads that said? Because this company doesn't police any of that stuff. They did the same thing with Stadium Creator. How many cringe 9/11 ballparks have you seen? Where they put the two buildings up there and put planes through them. Come on, dude. You don't know who plays this game. There could be people who come from victims of that thing, and you're just going to sit up and do it. Whole bunch of edgelords that play this game that do that cringy stuff. The only people who do it are the ones who are the online people. That's it. They made a mockery of this mode, and that's why this mode is not taken seriously. So that's my 2 cents on the whole ordeal. My apologies for being passionate like I am about this, but I have to say that life is very short, and we don't have very long on this earth. We don't. No moment is given to anybody. The people who watch this stream, me, myself, the people who make this game, anybody. Let's forget this game. Let's go into more serious issues in life. Whatever. Life is too short to not enjoy what we should enjoy when we can enjoy it, when we could enjoy it. And it's too short to waste your time with stuff that ain't going to make it work. So that's my 2 cents. I don't know how many people are in here right now, but there's a good amount. There's 4 people in here. God bless you all for being here. But what I'm working on right now is 1912 to 1918 Fenway Park. Okay? And I want to try to do this. I want to do this to the best of my abilities. So I already did League Park, which is for the Cleveland Spiders or Cleveland Indians, excuse me. Now, another question I get, because I want to touch this briefly too. Another question I get is, do I do custom stadiums, as in from scratch? Yes, I have. Yes, I do. And yes, I will. But here's the problem. People generally don't give enough traffic for custom ballparks. You have some good YouTubers who now has taken over this mantle. It used to be Harrison Sawyer, but Harrison Sawyer kicked the homeboy jumped off that sinking ship a couple months ago, so I don't know where he's at. And I don't blame him because SDS was basically not wanting to fix this mode. But you do have some tried and true people, and I want to make sure that they're known, so you can go to their accounts and find a less ranty individual, unlike myself. Stadium Center is a good one. He's been in the game for a little bit now. I think about a season, about a year or so. You can go check him out. He does some good content. He's a really chill guy. Studio 44 is another guy that does it too. Very passionate, very good channel, very nurturing channel as well. So go to them, give them your thanks. I mean, they don't need me to endorse them. I'm not a celebrity or a star or a deity or whatever, but they're good people within this community. Give good people what good people deserve. That's all I say. So that's it right here. I'm going to work on this, and then by 6 o'clock, I'm probably going to get off here and get out the gym. But if you guys got any questions or anything or any comments or stuff to what you want to land, I'll be right here. Say what you want. Stop by, say hi. I also have a TikTok account. Go over there, check it out. It is booming and growing. Okay? I have about 2,600 people over there. If you want to be a part of the 3,000, go do it. Okay? All I do is post videos and stuff like that. That's where I get most of the people who nag the hell out of me and ask me to build ballparks. Another thing, I don't build ballparks for free. Okay? And I learned that because when you do stuff for free, people take it for granted. The Joker said it best. If you're good at something, never do it for free. Okay? You don't look at a plumber and ask a person to come in and fix your pipes for free. Okay? You don't go to a mechanic and expect a mechanic to fix your stuff and say, hey, it's on the house. If you're good at something, you pay a person. Now, if you have a problem with that, don't ask me. But I will do this. I will give you this option. I will teach you how to build it for free. Now, I'll give you an example. A person came to me in my private message, and I never listened to it. I actually deleted them, didn't even bother talking to them. This person said, and I quote, I don't feel like doing this. I don't feel like learning it. I'm not interested in putting the time into it. Can you build this for me? And I deleted the whole entire thing. I never talked to the person ever again. If you don't care about it to the point where you're not passionate about it, okay, why should I do it for you? That means you're going to view me the same exact way. You're not going to value what I did to make it. You only want what you want out of it. There's no such thing as a free lunch, but I will teach you for free. I don't pay people for that. I will teach you how to build your ballparks. I will show you what to do if you wish. But if you're going to sit up there and you're going to tell me I'm not interested in this, I have no interest whatsoever in building this. I don't care. I don't care what grass you use. I don't care. I'm not going to build that for you because you don't understand value. You don't understand building yourself and your character. This is just a game, but there's a lot that goes into this stadium creator that teaches you a lot about life. If you want to apply yourself, if you want to learn about yourself, you're going to take on difficult stuff and you're going to learn to do it. If you don't have the time to do it, do not ask other people to do your stuff for you. That is the thing. As a person who is an artist, I do photography, I do sketches. I've done this since I was a kid, since I was 6 years old. Okay? There's a certain level of respect that you give to a chef, that you give to an artist, that you give to a person who cuts grass, who do all those things. When you message someone, you say, I don't really care about this. Can you build this ballpark? Can you build a spider web field for me? It's in Manassas. I don't know nothing about that ballpark. Why should I build it? And who are you? And you're going to pay. And you know what the response is when they pay? Oh, man, it's such a shame that I have to pay. Well, then build it yourself. Learn how to do it. We need more creators here. We need more people out here to build Stadium Creator, make it a legit mode so people can take it seriously and stop laughing at it. Go do that. When are you going to build College World Series? When are you going to build College World Series? Would you go to a pizza shop and you see somebody make a pizza? That takes a skill and it takes a craft. That person's great grandfather passed that on to them to learn. Are you going to walk into the pizza shop and say, listen, I'm not interested in pizza or anything you do, man. Can you just make me a slice of pizza? That's why a lot of people out here have bad taste in food. Because you know why? Because their outlook is bad. They go out here all the time and they think that going to Subway is the same thing as going down to your local delicatessen that's been there for 50 years that can make a whole straight pastrami on rye with some nice cheese, a little cheddar, little slice of dice on it. They miss out on that in life. It's an attitude. It starts in the head. It goes all the way down to the soles of your feet. It's how you carry yourself. It's what you believe in. So when you come here to this channel, I want to teach people stuff. If you have a question, go ahead. I'm going to rant a little bit. I'm going to run my mouth off. I'm going to burn your ears off. But if you ever have a question or you're passionate about building this stuff or you want to talk about ballparks, stadiums, or anything, I will tell you. I have videos in which I actually went to certain locations of Memorial Stadium that I wanted to build, to study its topography, to learn it. That put me on a whole trajectory to learn about aerial maps, photography, and all that stuff. So if you guys want to come here and you want to learn about something or you want to shoot the breeze and shoot the crap, I will gladly do it with you. There's been people who came in here and were like, hey, I need to know how to build Dodger Stadium. How to build the scoreboard. And I said, okay, cool. Let me stop what I'm doing. Let me brain thrust with you. I don't charge them money for that. I don't charge them for that. You will never have me price you to teach you. Because if I teach you good, then you go on and you teach someone else good. That's my reward. My reward is to have somebody like Arch come through here and be like, bro, I've watched all your videos, man. There used to be a time I used to never know how to build stuff, but you taught me how to do something, and I thank you for that. That thank you is worth more to me than gold. A guy named Mike, hey, man, I learned by watching your videos and stuff. I ain't got no problem with these people. You know the only problem I got with people? People come through and be like, hey, man, go build this. Go build that. Go build this. I said, okay, go pay me. If you're good at something in life, never do it for free. Don't be greedy. But when the time comes for you to profit off of what you're good at, the time will come. But in the meantime, I have no problem teaching you guys what I know and what I learned because I had to learn myself. I learned from the best people who no longer build ballparks in this thing anymore. So I'm going to be working on this. By 6 o'clock, I'll be out of here going to the gym or stuff. If you guys have questions or anything, be sure to leave something. Leave a like, subscribe, go over to TikTok, leave a like, subscribe, do whatever you want. I'll talk to you if you're cool. If you're not, well, then you know how that's going to go. Pleasure to meet you, Michael. I usually stick to building classical ballparks because number one, I grew up on classical ballparks. I love classical ballparks. It has always been my dream to build stuff like that because I've seen people build model ballparks and everything like that. So basically, the way I look at building a ballpark in this game is I look at building it like the way a person would build a model. You have your plaster Paris, you have your cardboard, you have your little oil paints, your grass, your paper, and all that type of stuff. So what are you going to do? You start out with the design. Right now, all I'm doing is like the field designs. If and I actually, here's something I also have done. I told people on the Discord as well as here. I tell people straight up what I do. I say, listen, I will do the field designs because to me, as much as I love doing this, I don't know if they're ever going to pass this thing, so it's pointless me doing it. But I would love to do one to show the capacity of it. But like I tell people, if you want to do what you want to do with these layouts, go ahead and do it. There you go. When I'm done with this Fenway Park, I'll upload it. Just like how I uploaded, what's it called? Ebbets Field. I got Ebbets Field uploaded. If you guys want to go build Ebbets Field, you want to learn for yourself how to do it, go ahead and do it. But my rule of thumb when it comes to building new ballparks and stuff like that is that a lot of people think that building old ballparks, the ballparks that are already built, has no correlation to you building old ballparks or your own ballparks. And to that, I say, you can't be further from the truth. And I'll tell you why. Because if you just go out and you just build a new ballpark, like from your imagination, what are you using to get inspiration from? The best approach, in my honest opinion, to build new ballparks, okay, to build new ballparks is to look at old ballparks that are already built for establishment and inspiration. Because that's, believe it or not, guys, that's what people do when they go out and they want to make a new ballpark. When they want to make a new ballpark like Camden Yards, for example, okay? I'll say this, for example. Camden Yards, right? Camden Yards took inspiration from the following ballparks: Fenway Park, Wrigley Field, Ebbets Field. Okay? That's where it took inspiration from. Probably some inspiration from old Oriole Park itself and everything, because it was in the style of an old neoclassic type of ballpark. So the whole premise of Memorial Stadium doesn't exist at Camden Yards because the sole purpose of Camden Yards was to distance itself from Memorial Stadium. So that's why you have what you got there. That's why it is the way that it is. So all that inspiration in Camden Yards, one of the biggest aspects that made Camden Yards what it is the warehouse, which, by the way, was going to be demolished. And they chose not to demolish it. Now, guess what ballparks that gave way to? Gave way to Safeco Field, gave way to Coors Field, gave way to PNC Park. All your neoclassical urban jewel box ballparks, neo jewel box ballparks, came from that. And so now the era that we're in now is not so much the neoclassic. Now the era that we're in now is this whole like type of modern multi-used facility. Kind of like a new take on what's it called? The cookie cutters. Because now you want to build places that are going to do sporting events, concerts and stuff like that. So it's all cyclical. So if you're going to build a new ballpark, okay, you're just going to build it from scratch. And I don't in any way mean to criticize what people do. But when you look at a lot of created ballparks for this game, What's the one thing they all have in common? They don't know what to do when they build it because they have no plan. There's no plan. When you build ballparks, you have to think of the fan accessibility, the quality of life, the quality of entertainment, what you're going to place there, how's your club levels? Are you going to have one club level, two club levels? Are you going to have any of that? If not, then okay, cool. How are you going to cap off your in gaps and stuff like that? How are you going to do any of that? If you can't do that, then guess what? You get stuck. That's why when a lot of people build ballparks, custom created ballparks, they look all weird and zany, and they got like all this stuff hanging from here, and they put whales in the outfield and all that type of stuff. Part of it's like creative and like dipping their toe in the pond, but most of it comes from them not knowing what to do. When I like to build created custom ballparks, I like to build ballparks that are set in a realistic type of world because that's what we're dealing with. Most of the people who are going to download those ballparks and like either take them to Diamond Dynasty or take them somewhere else, they're going to play them and they want that realistic feel. So one of my creative ballparks that I built was the inspiration of PNC Park or AT&T Park or Pac Bell Park or whatever they call that thing now. You know, I like that. So that's where you draw your inspiration from. That's how you build stuff. It's all in correlation. You know, that's it. Now, keep in mind, there's going to be some limitations. There's going to be some limitations to this because of the fact of how limiting the foul poles are and everything like that. But hey, listen, it's all a part of the thing that they got here. So, it's a little bit of a show here, but um, yeah. Okay, so here you go. Here is the. This is as close as I can get it within the limited ramifications of such. But this is the 1912, 1918 version of 1912 to 1918 version of Fenway Park. Now, one thing I would like to do to show you guys is the wall limitations just doesn't do it justice. They literally limited everything in here for somebody, which I'm not a fan of. But I didn't create the game. If it were up to me, I would love to do it like out of the park baseball, where you can just make your own stuff. But nonetheless, this is what they did. So let's see here. This is a 25-foot wall with a flagpole right there. Fortunately, I can't put it within the field of play, but you know, obviously stuff had to be done accordingly. But let's see here. We're going to see. We're going to do Fenway Park. Ship it up to Boston. All right. Google, where is Fenway Park's location?
Fenway Park is located at 4 Jersey Street, Boston, Massachusetts, 02215, USA. Here's a link to it on Google Maps.
Ship it up to Boston. What's the altitude of Boston, Massachusetts?
The approximate average altitude of Boston, Massachusetts is 46 feet, 14 meters above sea level. Some sources name this figure slightly higher, around 49 feet, 15 meters.
All right, as a bonus to the three people here, who would want to see me do a quick build of this thing, just so you can get like a little taste, a little hint of what you can pull off if you had like a fully customizable capability to build a Fenway Park. So just to see, I usually don't ask people, but like we got three in here watching. You know, I could probably go over a little bit. Who will want me to do it? If they want me, if I get a couple of yeses, I'll do it. If not, I'll just leave the layout and I'll just film the layout and just put it on TikTok or whatever. Well, that concludes that. I didn't really hear back from anybody, but I am heading out. So you guys have an awesome night. It's good talking to you. Good as always. And hopefully this saved to where I can actually see it and I can actually upload it in case anybody wants to do anything with it. But this is the 1912 Fenway Park, modified as best as possible within the ramifications that I can do it in. And that's that. So I will check you guys next time. Take care of yourselves. Be safe.